Hey there and welcome back. This is Brandon Showers, and today I'm going to talk about the non-disruptive upgrade process with the Pure Flash Array. So over the past 10 years, Pure's made several improvements to the Flash Array product. One of Pure's best features is the non-disruptive upgrade, and all of the components, in the Flash Array are modular and hot swappable, and that's what makes this process easy and straightforward. This video is going to demonstrate a non-disruptive upgrade from a 2015 M20 controllers to the 2018 X50s without any disruption to our VMware environment. So let's get started. So here I'm logging into Purity on the Flash Array in my lab. Now we can see here that we've got a FA M20. If we go to the Health tab, you can see it a little better. One of my controllers is degraded right now, so this is actually a perfect opportunity to replace this. So we have a FAM20 running Purity 6.0. All my drives are healthy, so that's good. And if I jump over to the connections, we can see here that I have an ESX host, and it's connected through 4 paths, 2 on each controller, and redundant. So let's jump into that VMware environment real quick on the host. Okay, so I have 4 VMs here. I'm going to go ahead and start them up. Got a session open to each controller. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is just list the controllers, just to get the status. So it shows they're both in a ready state. CT0 is the primary. Go ahead and run a status check just to make sure the software stack's healthy and running. I'm going to do that on both arrays, or both controllers rather. Okay, everything looks good. So at this point, I am going to, on CT1, stop Purity. So I'm going to run the pure ADM stop command. All right, so now controller 1 is offline, and if I rerun my array list, you can see that it demonstrates that. So let's swap out a controller. Okay, now I'm going to log in through KVM to that controller using the Pure Setup account. Once I'm in, I'm going to go ahead and check the version. Okay, so this is Purity 6.0. If I didn't have that, I would actually upgrade it to 6.0 first. And then I'm going to run the Pure Setup replace command to start the process of replacing this controller and adding it into the array from a software perspective. So these questions here, it just asks me if I want to apply the tunables that it's already found that were applied previously. And then once that's done, I'm going to let it reboot. Okay, then I'm going to log back in as Pure Setup again, and basically rerun the same command, the replace command. Okay, this time it's going to go through again, going to start prepping, and then it's going to check our network. So here I can say continue. It's going to check my management network and the fiber channel. And it noticed here that I had the network cable in the wrong port. So I went and just put it into ETH1, which is what it was originally. Hit yes to recheck. Everything's okay. And go ahead and proceed. All right, that's it. So secondary's done. It's now an X50R2 and it's in as 6.0. Everything looks good. I'm going to run a pure host monitor just to make sure that the traffic's being balanced between the primary and the secondary, which it is. And then we repeat this exact process on our CT0. Okay, just to do some sanity checks, you can see that we have an M20 right here as one controller, and then CT1's the X50R2. That's all reflected in purity. If we jump into the VMware environment, do some sanity checks there. You can see here that all 4 of the HBAs are online and connected. All right, so now I'm on CT0 and I'm actually going to fail over primary role to the secondary, which would be CT1. So running that command did that. Now I can jump over onto CT1's SSH session. Okay, so now we can see CT1 is the primary, the X50 we've already replaced. CT0 is now the secondary, which is what we're going to replace next. And we can see even after failover, we still have our redundancy. All right, so at this point on CT0, I'm going to go ahead and stop purity. Okay, CT0 is now offline. If I go check in purity, you can see that now all traffic's only going through CT1 at this point. We still have connectivity, but our redundancy's gone, obviously, because we've powered down one of the controllers, which is okay. That's reflected here as well in VMware. So let's go ahead and swap out that second controller. Okay, now we're back. So we're going to log back in now to the CT0, the new array we just swapped out. Go ahead and run the same commands we did previously. Pure setup replace from controller, and then we put the previous version, which should have been the FAM20, and enter. Okay, at this point it's going to run through the same process that we saw previously. It's going to start a setup. It's going to notice that there's several tunables that we need to apply that were previously applied. So it's going to prompt and confirm whether or not I want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes to all of those. And reboot. Okay, now we're back up, so I'm going to go ahead and log back in as pure setup. And guess what? We're on the same command again. All right, this time it'll start the init and it will then do a network check for us. This time I put the network cables in the right port, so everything looked good. It's going to go through, do the magic, swap it out. We don't need to change time zones. I'm going to say no there, and we are done. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and reboot it, which is now the secondary, this new array. Let that boot back up and then do some health checks. Let Purity fully spin up. And finally, everything looks good. We have successfully non-disruptive upgraded to the new family of controllers. You can see here that VMware is connected on all 4 paths. We've got our X50R2 now registering in Purity, all green as well, so 2 healthy new controllers, that's good. If we look at each of them, you can see they're both on Purity 6.0. Looking good. All our drives are green, so that's good. And if we look at our connectivity, we have all 4 paths and we are redundant to our ESX host. So at most, we lost 2 paths during the process as we swapped out those controllers. Never lost a host, never lost a VM. Everything went smoothly.